So let's get started on, as I said, the first of our 618 panel sessions. And the first one is an absolute doozy. This, I think, was one of the more interesting deals that we've seen in the industry over the last few years. And I think it talks a lot to what I was saying about how we need to be creative in terms of the sorts of deals that we're doing, the way that they're structured. And so to go through the Vienna House story, please allow me to introduce Mr. G, Mario Scamola, who's going to moderate the session, and he will very briefly introduce the rest of the panel. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would love to have my panelists on the stage, please. Ruslan, Dimitri, Rupert, thank you. I guess most of you do know about the Vienna House story, but I thought it would be most appropriate to start a conference in Vienna, Hotel Investment Conference, with probably the most intriguing story about creating a brand and taking a local regional brand to the global stage. This is what we are going to talk about, and everybody hopefully has had a chance to read up about the panelists that we have. Rupert Simoner, who was the CEO of Vienna House, and of course the creator of the Vienna House brand. Beautiful Mr. Hasri, Ruslan Hasri, who was he's a partner in crime in taking Vienna House to a much bigger stage.
Why is he beautiful and I'm not?
And of course, Dimitri, who is heading up as president of Vienna for EMEA region. He was the one who actually is now taking responsibility of bringing Vienna House to a global stage. The reason we have selected this is because I really believe that this is a story of inspiration, and we need a lot of inspiration during these times. Everybody needs that. This whole conference is about inspiration, and I think this is a great example of how a vision can be turned into reality, irrespective the times and challenges that we have ahead of us. And this is exactly what Mr. Simoner, the beautiful Mr. Simoner, has had a chance to do. And I would like to start off by asking Ruslan, with a law degree and an accounting degree, what made you become a hotel owner, a hotelier, and an entrepreneur in this industry?
Thank you very much, and thank you for the invitation, and thank you for the amazing event here. Also to have all these people here. Good morning for everyone. I will be happy to get to know all of you and to have more opportunities maybe together in the future. Yeah, like I came to the hospitality from the investment side and from the real estate side. As I started after my accounting degree and master in law to start to invest in Germany in the real estate, as we saw Germany had a potential upside of opportunity in the real estate and to have added value, and especially like the hospitality sector and the market where it's the hospitality is part of the real estate sector, but actually it's more the difficult one, but the sexy one. And therefore, I came to this niche from the real estate part, built up a white label platform in Germany, trying to work with different franchise partners, and my value add, it was to increase the values of each individual real estate asset what we have. And this is the idea how I came to the hospitality.
So you like the challenge?
Exactly. I love my challenge. Yeah.
Very good. Rupert, why does a executive in a luxury hotel company make the decision of heading up a 3-4-star hotel group in Vienna?
The time when I joined, by that time Vienna International, I was working for Kempinski and for actually quite a long time, and we have changed that company 4 or 5 times completely. But it was at the time when I somehow found I have to leave my comfort zone, and I wanted to run, and I wanted to leave my own legacy in a hotel company. And I was given the opportunity by the owners by that time, George Folian and by Franz Jukovic, and they we had a Kempinski project in Vienna, and we met in Zurich at the Boro Lac, and they asked me if I would be interested, and I said yes, and I put out the white piece of paper, and they said, "Is this your plan?" I said, "Yes, I would actually start from scratch with this company." And they immediately said yes, and that was for me the door opener of saying, get out, learn something new, do something else, and create a company which is outside the field which you know, luxury divisions. And I must say it was the best decision I have made next to, and I must also say, joining by that time Kempinski 20 years before in the luxury division. Both of them were super, super interesting.
It's amazing. Thank you very much. Dimitri, why would a global branding company, actually the largest in the world in terms of hotel branding as a franchisor, buy a 40-property brand, regional brand?
We just wanted to continue his legacy. Just make sure that we honor his legacy. No, I mean, look, Wyndham is a company that likes to buy brands. Something most people don't know about Wyndham. Out of the 24 brands that we have, 19 we've actually purchased. So we like to buy stuff if they are complementary to what we've got. And the story, Rupert, I think is very modest. I mean, the story that they've built is not just about the 40 hotels. It's about the potential that the brand has. It's about what they've actually created. And the moment you get into the design, the concept, the ethos, the DNA of the brand, it actually made a lot of sense for us. So it's not about the number of hotels. Yes, it's 40. Some people might say, why we even paid the money that we paid for 40 hotels? You actually pay for the upside and the potential rather than what they currently have. So what Rupert and his team, and we've already paid for this, so I can say that. So what they've actually done is created something which in our hands, I believe, exactly as you said, we can take global. And that's exactly the reason why we got so enthusiastic about it, and that's why we're here on this panel. We loved what they did.
Excellent. Rupert, you mentioned a blank sheet of paper. When you had the blank sheet of paper in front of you, did you already know that you're going to create a brand?
I knew after the discussion I had at the Boro Lac, because there was one thing clear to me, that by that time Vienna International, which was a totally different company, the business model was based on management of properties which had all individual names basically in the forefront. And everybody I asked said, I don't know what it is exactly. So it was clear to me it's lacking clarity, and that mission then basically was to give clarity to our customers and to our employees and say, I need to do a brand. And for us, by that time, when we had that discussion, we already discussed that this is not going to be something which we're going to do for the next 10, 20, 30 years, etc., but that the shareholders had a clear wish of saying, look, we have done this now for many, many years. We would, at some point in time, like to exit. So I had to design a business model according to those needs, and it was clear we have to change the business model, we have to give clarity, and we have to add a brand, because the brand was the third component next to the properties, which we are going to own, because we didn't own properties. Next to the management, we built up the value in the brand, and actually it was the brand. What Dimitri is actually, Wyndham was buying the brand and not the operations and not the properties. They were actually buying brand, and that's what we didn't have before.
Is it not scary to take a career decision to go into a company where your ultimate objective is to exit? So basically you have to sell everything. So basically what you do is creating a success, and you are stealing the CEO position opportunity from yourself because you're selling.
That was clear from day one that we're going to create something. It was not, it has to be on that day. It was also clear that when we were looking for a potential next investor, it's not someone who's going to be out of private equity or anything happening which is going to be wild and crazy. We were looking jointly from that day onward for someone who will take Vienna House to the next level, and we actually found that.
Okay, excellent. For the benefit of the audience, there's a lot of hotel owners, hotel companies, independents, unbranded, thinking about branding. Can you give us a 90-second rundown from the moment of the idea being born, of creating a brand, to the opening of the first hotel on the Vienna House brand? Why does someone, and how does someone create a brand?
Okay. I think most important, 90 seconds. Differentiate between a trend and what's probably going to last, what is meaningful. So not to put your money on everybody's doing that, so I'm doing that as well. That probably safeguards you from running into a one-way street. Secondly, what a lot of people forget, and I was absolutely determined about that, this is my idea and it felt right for my heart, for my stomach, and ideally for the brain. Where you say, no, I thought that through and I really believe in it. The trick for Vienna House basically to be built on the bedrocks of Vienna International was, beside the idea and putting that on not a trend, was that I was picking the right team. And the team became co-owners of Vienna House. It was not just me, it was the team which said, I own Vienna House, I have it tattooed here, and I am Vienna House. I can contribute to that story. After that, you'll have actually to launch fast. Spend little, I would say, because we didn't spend immediately millions on it. We said, let's test it first, let's get the market feedback, let's evaluate and let's adjust where there is need to be. Then there is one component which a lot of startups actually forget, and I think this is the key component for every future success: give surprisingly good service and create a good product. You know, it's quality. Don't forget the quality part in that. Don't get distracted. Never give up, and get profitable. Get profitably quick. I never understood why companies can be non-profitable for many, many years and still be around, because at the end of the day, it's your balance sheet, it's your P&L, which also determines part of your success. So that would basically be the main components for me.
So you would encourage anybody in this room to actually think about starting their own brand if they have the foundation and the vision and everything else behind them to be able to succeed, despite the fact that the global hotel companies are announcing a brand every week?
I would, well, first of all, global hotel companies are probably, and it's not so much about global hotel companies, but I think what has been launched every week is a label. They put on a label and not a brand. A brand really needs time, because when I launched Vienna House, that was in 2014, we only launched it in 2016. We took a year and a half to think about, to test it, to find out, etc. Labeling is pretty quick. I'm not even sure if everybody would like to launch a brand. It's launching an idea. A brand is developing out of an idea, and either it becomes a brand or not. I heard once that somebody was saying, what is branding? And the answer was, branding is what people say about you when you leave the room. It's not what you design, it's actually what people say about you.
Thank you. Ruslan, it's 2016. Where are you at? You got into this business in 2008, I believe. After many years, 2016, Vienna House is launched. Where are you? What is your status at that stage in terms of number of hotels, etc.?
2016, I was still very asset heavy. It means owner and operator, with over 20 hotels that all the hotels are owned and operated under different franchise partners, mainly with Accor this time. And with other franchise partners that we had the opportunities of the deal. And in this stage, it's exactly was the time in 2016, like about thinking like the next step of our journey. It's like how we are going to continue our development and to continue our growth. Basically with our DNA of asset heavy, it means either by owning the asset or either by signing lease contract as white label operator. It means we were very concentrated on not owning or developing a hotel brand. As Rupert mentioned, we didn't want to go to the way of really this creative way, like that you create a brand and develop it and so on. We were very focusing on added value and professional operating our hotel, that we increase values by all the hospitality needs, from guest journey to the brand, what we are choosing on the roof of the hotel, from the loyalty, what we are choosing to our own hotels, that we can stabilize and increase the values of our assets or the asset what we are operating. Like I was ambition to grow the company and to have over 100 hotels where we are there. We are operating over 145 hotels, and we have a significant pipeline. And in 2016, it was kind of the next step for us in the time. And the market in this time was quite very hot market and heated. Therefore, it started to give me the idea what the next step, because the interest rate was going down, the real estate prices were going very high, a lot of competition in the lease contract in the Central European market and DACH region. The prices were quite expensive, and things start step by step to make not sense from investment side. And therefore, I start to think about the next step by, in one hand, buying fast things, but in the other hand, looking how to liquid and to go to the next level.
And in 2016, you already had relationship with Wyndham, right?
Yes, in this time we had a relationship because our strategy, as we said, we always choose the brand, and the right brands to the property what we are operating. And in this time we were also partner with Accor, and we had some hotels we thought which brand to add on it. And in this time, Ramada Hotel was going out of the German market, but I believed Ramada still was known in the market, and it was kind of, in my portfolio, a gap of brand where we can add on and get distributed and potential also add in. And then we franchised 5 of our properties to Ramada Hotels, 1 in the Netherlands, 4 in Germany. And this is how started our relationship with Wyndham. And beside all other brands where we're working together with them.
Excellent. Dimitri, in 2016, where was Wyndham in terms of its growth plans? Because we are talking about the years of boom ahead of us, and everybody's excited. We're all ready to expand very fast. So where was Wyndham at?
It's an interesting story because, again, for those of you who are not aware, we were founded in 2006. So we've been around. We were part of a conglomerate at that time called Cendant. And when Cendant broke in 4 different pieces, then we created a company called Wyndham Worldwide at that time. We were the world's biggest vacation club business. We were in the timeshare exchange. We were in the vacation rentals, world's #1. We had the franchise business with Wyndham Hotels. In 2016, we were coming close to make a very big decisions about our future. And in 2018, we actually went public independently. So Wyndham Worldwide broke in 3 different pieces, and Wyndham Hotels and Resorts in June, actually about 5 years ago, 2019 went public. Independently as a hotel group. At that time, we were a North America company with a bit of international presence. That's what the story of Wyndham. And we have about 6,500 hotels in North America, and we had a few in Latam, APAC, and EMEA. Today, the growth of Wyndham is a completely different story. 60% of our pipeline is international, and 40% is domestic. That means that Wyndham is not just a North America company with a bit of international presence, we're actually becoming a global company. And for me and my colleagues in APAC and LATAM, that means a lot because suddenly our voice is actually far stronger and far higher than before. So if you look at us in 2016, North America company with a bit of international presence, all the way fast forward to today, 60% of the pipeline of the future of Wyndham is actually international. And the Vienna House deal actually had a bit of a semantic importance to me as well. It was the first time that the company spent the amount of money that they spend, lots or not a lot, that's for somebody else to judge, in the European market. And so the confidence, plus the fact that we are an international business. The last acquisition we did was about 5 years ago when we spent, I don't know, at that time it was about $2.5 billion, and we bought La Quinta in the US. So going from La Quinta to buying a European brand, for me, it actually sent a very positive signal to where Wyndham's future is actually heading. And that was the semantics and the optics around the deal. I mean, it made absolute sense financially, but there was a semantic importance of doing that deal as well.
Thank you. Rupert, 2016, There's lots of opportunities. Everybody's thinking about growth. The market is hot. There's money around. You have a mandate to sell. So what happened next? Just bring us up to date over the next 3 years between 16 and 19.
16, we were actually realizing, or I was realizing, we are faster than expected. With a lot of luck and tailwind, the market was hot. And we were on the lookout, exactly as we discussed 2 years before, and said, who would be a fit, who's not just a shareholder, but a strategically new shareholder for Vienna House. By coincidence, I must say, by that time it was pretty new. We had a video conference call with Asian investors. And by coincidence, I realized that I knew the Asian investor from a deal before, a long time ago when I lived in Bangkok. So the ice was broken. And the most important part was that we got a shareholder which not only bought into Vienna House in order to divest from Asia, because, and I tell you a little bit more about in our company, our Asian company, a little bit later on, when I come to that, but buying into the future of Vienna House and sharing that passion. And that's what I had with Franz and George, the owners of Vienna International by that time, what I found in Kevin and Kiri, we are basically a family office in Thailand, but stock listed, where they said, this is our passion hospitality, and we believe that what we buy today will be much more worth in value in a few years to come. So when we did this, that was actually for us a perfect fit, and that's what I always wanted to have for the company, to have a strategic shareholder, which is a real, not only equity owner, but also owner of the brand and owner of the future of the company.
Thank you. If we fast forward to 2020, Ruslan, what is the first thing that goes through your mind when the disaster hits? Just to put everything into perspective, HotCo in 2020 was staged at the end of January. We had over 400 people because we had another event simultaneously to HotCo. Not a single word was ever mentioned about coronavirus. And a month later, northern Italy was shut down. So it really came very fast. So please put us into perspective. What goes through your mind? You have employees, you have bank debts, you have incredible responsibility. What do you do? What is the first thing that comes to mind? And what was the first decision that you made?
Actually, luckily, just before 2020, like I will go back to 2019, and also from your question before to 2016. From 2016 to 2019, I had very clear strategy that the market is too hot, and no one talked about any COVID, but everyone talked about something will happen, like there will be kind of cool down, recession, any ideas of financial crisis or the market too hot or something like that. I had significant hidden reserves in my balance, and then I was thinking what can be the next step in the journey of my time by creating this value add to my real estate part, where it's the company basically backed by real estate part. And then I start to think with different options, and one of the very attractive option was in this market, it was like sell and lease back. And in 2019, after some years of working on this idea, I was successfully sold a part of my portfolio to Pandox, over 400 million, and to other pension funds in Germany. In total, I sold sell and lease back around $500 million with CapEx program, and I paid all my debts out. And I was very liquid, and I was waiting for 2020. After 2019 is one of the best years, I was waiting for 2020 to see how we can increase our development, to settle the structure. In the meantime, I bought the leasehold of Mövenpick from Accor, where we doubled our top line in this time. I thought we were running, or still running, all the Mövenpick Central Europe with the leasehold, saying we are increasing our operation to lifestyle, more to also F&B concepts and so on. Therefore, when when the COVID hit in 2020, in the first step, I didn't believe it. I said, can happen, like people, yeah, there are some for a short time, and I booked my holidays, and then I start to feel a little bit like my team start to get more nervous. I start to see like it's getting more serious. For sure, I had to cancel my holiday even before all the flights can be canceled. And the first step, what I thought, in one hand, like I thought it's really opportunity in Amcoin. I was not expecting it having so long, but I thought it's opportunity coming because this is the time where can you restructure your organization, make it more slimmer, and I saw it as opportunity. But for sure, with the time, it's got harder and harder. In one hand, I invested a lot of money in the company for taking over other companies. And this is where we got to know each other with Vienna House, but in total, it was part of other deals what I done. It was very hard also to keep the things going, even like no one was knowing, like to negotiate. Actually, this was also the biggest opportunity because if you a little bit understand our business model, we are a hotel operation, one of the biggest today in Central European market, asset-heavy signing lease contract. It means if you will take to any bank before, they will say, like everyone say, what can the worst thing can happen to your thing? And I think COVID, this is the worst thing can happen. And for me, this was also the proof of concept and the proof of model in Central Europe that lease contracts can survive. Because if we survived, the worst thing can happen in the world to the hospitality, especially to our model, by being the leasehold, having the liability to pay the lease contracts and also to pay the debt of the bank and still to operate, to handle all these things, where it was no rules coming up because no one was knowing what to do. Like it's one day to the other. You have top line, you don't know if you are obliged to pay the lease, you are not obliged to pay the lease, you will have a court case, you will not have court case, the lease will be cancelled or not, you will get any support from the government, you will not get any support from the government, how the government, it was a lot of question marks in the market. Like therefore, just to summarize it, I in one hand, I was seeing its opportunity coming in for consolidation in the market and a little bit cooling down, but for sure the pandemic was much more over my expectation from the world and the time and the things. But nevertheless, the fact that we are increased our company 4 times or 5 times more from 2019 to today in the time of the COVID.
Yeah, so I think what you are reconfirming is if the market gets too hot, it's really time to exit, consider getting debt free, and use the war chest that you create for growth by other means. Rupert, what was going through your mind? You have Asian owners, you can't even go in front of them, you can't travel, you cannot sit in the same boardroom with them. What is, you know, they have their own problems, they have their own issues, nobody knows what's going to happen. So what was, you know, in terms of keeping with the plan of exits and everything else, what was going through your mind? And what decisions were made to forget about the difficulties, but keep on moving with the vision?
I'll also have to go back to 2019 because we saw the same, market is hot, that's the time to go to the stock exchange. So we prepared our IPO in 2019, diligently, paid for whatever we have to pay to go for an IPO on the Bangkok Stock Exchange. And then we had But the
IPO is in Asia.
Yeah, we wanted to do it in Bangkok, for sure, because we are listed in Bangkok. Mm-hmm. Our holding is listed in Bangkok. And our launch date for Ringing the Bell was the 1st of March 2020.
Okay.
That was perfect timing. It never happened. The bell never rang. Nevertheless, and to understand why we have made the decision is what is it that we do in Asia, because we are a hospitality, residence, and mainly also logistics company. We run the public transportation in Bangkok and part of it in Thailand. So we are a very big stock-listed conglomerate, and hospitality is our passion. We are, as I said, like a family office. And in 2019, that didn't work. In 2019, in December, we had our annual, basically, get-together, our Christmas party, and we were sitting on the same table. And that's where we saw for the first time what's happening in China. Now, I have lived for a long time in China and in Hong Kong, and 25% of my brain is Asian. And we looked at each other, and Kevin actually said, "What do you think of that?" And knowing China, seeing how ruthless this regime is protecting economy, but not people, because the shutdown in China was not based to protect people, it was purely to protect the economy. I said, this is going to be a tsunami. Because if China is reacting like this, and they know already what we don't know, we better be prepared. Because if this is going to come to Europe, then we have Houston, we have a problem. So what we did in December and in January, I prepared a plan, 3 options. One of the options also was an immediate sale, so that we take the tailwind of saying, let's don't wait until the tsunami has taken everything away, has ruined our stock market pricing, but let's do it quickly. And the deal was actually internally, they said, if we should ever have a shutdown in Europe, like we see it in China, then we push that button. I was actually 50% sure we will never see a shutdown in Europe. And no, 70% I was sure. When we saw the first shutdown, actually we pushed that button and said, now it is time for us to remodel the company. That does not mean that we leave hospitality, but for the time being, what we do with our holding, we remodeled it into a completely different business segment. It was actually in the financial services on a digital level. And I was commissioned of saying, what do we do in Europe? What do we do with Vienna House? Again, similar, but with a partner who will take Vienna House to the next level. But it was a decision which we took in December 2019, before COVID actually hit us 2 months later.
Amazing. Dimitri, as a franchisor, the franchisees, the hotel owners run to you. What can you, as a franchisor, do in terms of support when things like this happen, which have not happened for 100 years? So there is no proper blueprint for this. So what does Wyndham do?
I was oblivious when I make the decision to shut down Hammersmith on the 17th of March, 2020, I said to the guys, I'll see you in 2 weeks. And I haven't seen them. I saw them after 2.5 years. So I was completely wrong. It was very difficult because you had to balance between humanitarian crisis and business decisions.
Absolutely.
And that's a lesson that I will never forget. I lost my mother during COVID. I saw a lot of friends losing parents and losing people they love. I saw India going into, and we have 60 hotels in India and a great team there. We were rushing to find oxygen canisters to help our team survive. So it was a horrible time, because how do you balance between yourself as a human being and what actually happening around you, and the sadness that you see of people not even being able. A friend of mine, I will never forget that he attended his father's funeral on FaceTime, because he couldn't travel. So, and how do you actually do business decisions? It was very simple. In a franchise world, and I think everybody, that applies for every brand and every hotelier in this room, you had to make sure that you survive for the sake of your people, your team, but at the same time, you survive for the sake of your franchisees. For 2 years, I called people not to ask for money. And now they're getting used to it, so every time I call them for money, they don't talk to me anymore. But anyway, I call them because I wanted to find out how they are. You know, the word thank you and how you're doing actually got a complete different meaning. When you call people that their hotel is closed and they haven't seen their family because they're in a lockdown, and you just call them to say, hey buddy, how are you doing? How's things? Are you healthy? Is your family well? And that's what actually changed the relationship between franchisees and franchisors, between hotel brands, owners, leasehold. I think it taught us a completely different way of doing business. And one of the key things that every time I think about these 2.5 years of sadness, never forget the lessons you learned. If we forget the lessons we learned those 2.5 years, I think we're going to become the same individuals that we were before. And I think that everything happens for a reason in life, and I fully agree with Ruslan as well. Never allow a crisis to go wasted. We restructure our business. We establish new relationship with our franchisees. We completely change the way we look at growth and which markets we grow. But at the same time, we will never forget what the trust and the human relationship actually means in our business. Because at the end of the day, either we like it or we don't, robots and all that, we are a people's business.
Ruslan and Rupert, was it love at first sight, or you guys were brought together because of the crisis? We really have very little time to wrap it up, but I think we would really like to hear this opportunity. Two beautiful people. So what does that do?
Thank you very much.
And a bold guy.
We'll get to the most beautiful one at the end.
We
Two
met,
beautiful people and a bold guy. I mean, that's a story there.
We had telephone sex. We met over.
Oh,
phone.
that doesn't include me, by the way. I'm out of that.
Yeah.
No.
We
Thank
met
you,
over
Robert.
the phone, and as I said, we were pretty quick in our decision, and Ruslan was one of the first to call, but we actually didn't know each other. We met over the phone, and during that, at least me, but I don't know what you are going to say. During
The
that
same.
one phone call, I said, I'm going to do the deal with Ruslan, because he was the one who said, I understand, I see, that's what we do. Let's
Excellent.
meet.
Thank you.
And
So
no
it's
bullshit
creativity,
information.
partnership,
Exactly.
trust, and
Decisions.
Decisions. Excellent. Fast decisions that had to be made. Okay, your turn. You are going to. You couldn't have more different personalities, you and Dimitri. So you go to Dimitri and you tell him, listen, either buy these brands from me, or I'm going to cancel all your contracts. Is that how that works, or?
Not exactly. We were fighting on the price, but not of canceling. Actually, shortly, like the deal also with Rupert, as he said, like we had our strategy was very clear that we would like to go and to take over leases, and we saw huge potential with the Vienna House as a brand and Vienna House as part of like a hotel company in Central Europe. And I saw huge potential that this will be part of our portfolio in general, from the asset side, from the leases, but also from the real estate side. On the other hand, as our strategy is very clean and clear that we don't want to develop a brand, also not to compete with any brand from our all brand partners, and we have a lot of brand partners like Windheim, but also all the leading brand partners in the market that we are brand. Therefore, I believed in the brand, but I didn't saw that we want to grow it. Therefore, for me, it was very clear, if you want to do good business, then you have to know who's your partner for that. And I know for Windheim and Dimitri, where Dimitri also we have very good chemic also about all our relation in this time. And then I told him, look, Dimitri, like I think you are missing really very nice brand, and you will be the platform to take this brand to the next level. And you can help me also from the liquidity side, that I can buy it without any depending on any third parties. And this is the deal how we will build it.
So for the benefit of the audience, how long did you own the brand?
Again, please?
For how long did you own the before you sold it?
If you ask Dimitri, he will say 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
3 minutes.
I had two lawyers teams where we work in. Actually, even Rupert didn't know the strategy. He was representing stock market company, and he's representing stock market company. Therefore, we had very clear NDAs and confidentiality. Therefore, I could not really disclose the deal. Then cost me a lot of money for lawyers, but I had two big legal teams working in 2 different rooms.
Even in Germany, lawyers charge too much?
Yeah, even in Germany. And then I hold it, it's the way of the corridor from one room to the other room. Like they just got the paper, and the lawyers went to Dimitri, told him pay the price, and I think it's 3 minutes, you said?
Yeah, 3 minutes. Yeah, you own the brand. He's going to stay in history of the guy who owned the brand only for 3 minutes. That's about it.
Well, I think this deserves a big round of applause. Thank you very much. And a word of encouragement: if you have a brand to sell, run up to Ruslan. He's going to make a deal and sell it to Wyndham. Thank you very much.